Welcome to the 5 o'clock show. It's time for Common Sense. Now, it's Katz and Cosby with John Katzimatidis and Rita Cosby, standing for truth, justice, and the American way, bringing common sense to the world. Now, here's John Katzimatidis and Rita Cosby.
Well, it is the final countdown, and John, 25 days.
36,000 minutes.
Do you know how many seconds?
Oh, well, you got to make it say 36,000 minutes.
36,000 times 60.
Oh, yeah,
that's right.
Governor Patterson, you're the best one You're the best counter here. I know that.
What's 36,000 minutes times 60 seconds?
It would be 216,000 seconds.
Wow! What a show off! Ed Cox, this is a professional man here.
2 million seconds.
2 million.
200.
Doesn't even better counting votes.
Yeah.
2,116,000 seconds. That's it.
Okay.
Wow, and that's how much time is left.
And President Biden has left town today.
Yeah, he went to St. Croix.
He went to St. Croix, and they're shutting off all the phones and communications.
Is that like
that way we can have no damage?
That's what I was going to say.
The question becomes: are they going to give him a signing machine so he can do another 1,500 pardons every day,
or give it to somebody else on his staff
to
sign on his behalf? What do you think about that?
I think it's outrageous, is what I think.
By the way, did you see Judge Weinberg that President Trump put out a note about those messages, and he said, you know, the people on death row who got the lucky break, Christmas break from these folks, and they're the worst of the worst.
The worst of the worst.
One who killed 12 people.
Yeah.
He said, quote, you can all go to hell. Yeah. What do you think of that, Ed Cox?
I would have been more John. You know where you can go.
Spoken like a true gentleman.
By the way, one of the people, so you should know, whose sentence was commuted, had already killed a correction officer in prison. So you're just encouraging that kind of violence within the prisons against all the staff and other prisoners. It's absolutely reprehensible.
It is a disgrace. And speaking of prisoners, everybody, you guys, is talking about this case with Eric Adams now coming forward. I love this that he's saying this. He is pushing for federal charges against the Guatemalan migrant, the guy who crossed the border illegally twice. This is the guy who lit the woman on fire and let her burn. And now they're saying that she is so, you can just imagine what the worst kind of death ever. They can't even ID her. They're going to have to go to dental records because, it's just horrible. But this is interesting because if he can get federal charges
death
against,
penalty. Death penalty.
Yes. And
Death
it's a sign also that he's working with Trump to also at Cox.
Well, I am sure that President Trump, if New York can't rule themselves, he'll make sure the federal government rules it by creating federal indictments instead of, on serious crimes.
Yeah, and it's a message. It's a great point, John, because it's a backstop.
I mean, I'm not even a lawyer. Let me talk to the lawyers. Judge Weinberg, Ed Cox, Governor Patterson, you are lawyers. If there's a serious crime like this, the problem with Penny, not Penny.
With which case? Which one?
The one in the F train.
The F train, the Guatemalan guy. Yes, the Guatemalan guy.
If it's a serious problem, the federal government is going to step in and make it terrorism.
If they can come up with a cognizable crime, they should definitely charge under the feds. The state won't do the job. The feds can do the job as long as there's a crime under federal law.
Governor Patterson, have you ever talked to the Speaker of the Assembly?
Mr. Hasty?
Yes.
He doesn't talk anymore, does he?
I left here one night last year, and I was in an Uber, and I picked up the phone, and he doesn't even identify me. He says, when are you changing your registration to Republican? I said, Carl, I've been trying to reach you for 6 months. If that's what it takes, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, you know what? For you to sign.
And you know what? If there's ever a case for giving the ultimate punishment, I can't think of anything more severe than this monster. This guy, his name is Sebastian Zepeda Khalil, 33 years old. He was living in a homeless shelter and lit this woman on fire. I mean, to me, if there's ever a case to say, yeah, that guy deserves the ultimate punishment, don't you think, Judge Weinberg?
You're absolutely right. And I'll tell you what's very troubling about it. It's what we call here at WABC the Daniel Penny effect. People watched it happen. the same way people were stabbed at Grand Central Station and people let it happen and just watched. People are being deterred from being good Samaritans. That's the Daniel Penny effect.
And by the way,
that's what Alvin Bragg was brought to the city.
And later on in the show, guys, we have a blockbuster show. We're going to be talking to Claudia Tenney in just a moment, the Congresswoman. We have Alan Dershowitz. We have John Solomon, also Brent Sadler. We also have Thomas Kenneth, who is the attorney for Daniel Penny, and he's going to be talking exactly about that. So that's a good thing. By the way, Governor Patterson, I got to ask you, because you were talking about Luigi Mangione and the perp walk.
I am just going to say what Mayor Adams wants to do with the perpetrator in the subway case, I think is brilliant. I think it's brilliant. However, you have to remember when you're in government exactly where you are in government. He's not a part of law enforcement. He is not any act that anything he does during this time is considered political. And the reason there's a presumption of innocence in this country is because he's not supposed to, as the head of the city, presume the guilt of this man, even though we all know he's guilty. But they don't need any more. They've got enough evidence. Injecting himself in that situation, I thought, was short-sighted.
But Governor Patterson, a defense attorney for Luigi Mangione, who's a great defense attorney, and I'm all for everybody getting the best defense possible. She was upset that there were police officers walking with guns next to Luigi, saying he's not a threat. I'm sorry. Somebody who opens fire on the United Healthcare CEO.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
With us today. Let's move on.